Let's get personal. Wanna get personal. Let's get into person now. Okay. It's not. What? Anyway. It's been a good time. It has been a good vacation so far, and it will continue to do so, I am sure. The speed limit is 65. I am doing 65. I'm sorry if that's not fast enough for you. You are welcome to pass me when it is appropriate to do so, car who is encroaching my back end. I finished Cyberpunk yesterday. That took me a good couple of weeks. I played it off and on at the same time as playing Fallout with the siblings, which is a good time. I drop off on that one, but pick it up around the holidays each year, apparently. This is the second year in a row that I went, yeah, I'll join in with you guys. Most of them play it throughout the year, or, every couple months they do an update and people jump back on. And I do the same thing with Elder Scrolls and, some things like that. But I did manage to finish the main story yesterday. Good story. Good times. Good game. I know it had some problems when it first came out, let's just be real, most video games do. I don't know very many that I can think of that launched without any problems. I'm trying to think of what games I played at launch. In recent memory, going back real far, I played Stardew Valley at launch, and that worked just fine. But look at how far it's come now. If you've played that, that's they've got multiplayer now. There's all kinds of updates that have been going through, and whole other sections of the game have been added. So that's not exactly a good example, but it worked on launch. It didn't have any game breaking or any problems like that. What else have I played at launch? Not really all that many games. I can't really think of anything. I didn't play Halo Infinite at launch, although I did play that around the holidays. Last year I played through the campaign. What a campaign that was. Oof. Really turned around the whole one. Enjoyed that one so much more than some of the previous games. That one instantly became one of my favorites. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of that is a theme. A game launches, as probably, especially with AAA titles, and that might be why I just named two different ones. One being, a bigger company, and one being an indie developer. Where some of them have corporate board members who push it out before it's ready and things like that. Anyway, Cyberpunk was great. I think it released last year, actually, so waiting a year to pick it up and play through it helped a lot. It's fantastic. I did not incur... I don't think my game crashed once. I don't think I had anything. There were some minor technical... glitches, characters glitching through things, but that always happens. You kind of have to forgive that, unfortunately. It doesn't break the game to me at all. It's just, oh, that's funny. Then you move on. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing through that. I do have side quest stuff that I'm going to do over the weekend that I had not finished up yet. I did not go all the way through. They warned me. They were like, hey, you won't be able to do any side quest stuff, so if there's something you want to do, go wrap it up now. And I should have known that was, hey, this is the end of the game. And I did it anyway. There was just like one or two side quests where I was like, I would like to finish this up, so I definitely will finish those up, and then I don't know what I'm playing next. I've got my list. I only have Cyberpunk because a friend bought it for me, which is kind of the theme of I'm trying not to spend any money. But the last game I did buy was when they announced the update for the newest generation of consoles for Witcher 3. I've never actually played very much of Witcher 3. Wanted to. Tried it a couple times, just never really got into it, but I'm going to try it again now. I might jump into Witcher. I might take a little break first. Just play like Elden Ring or Elder Scrolls in between, so I'm not jumping straight back into another big endeavor kind of thing. Just relax a bit. I might do that over the weekend and start it next week when I get back into my routine of wake up, work, work out, play a little, eat dinner, go to bed 4 days a week, at least. Ooh, hello, what are you? It's a whole flock of little bitty things. Well, birds. Why I call them things. Good thing it's going through town and we drive nice and slow. That's interesting. I haven't seen anything like that. It's a big old crow. Now it's getting too warm in here. Little bitty birds. I would like to take pictures of little bitty birds. Wonder what they are. Swallows, maybe? I definitely saw some swallows when I first got here, up into the Rocky Mountains. I haven't seen them since, so maybe they retreated to the warmth of towns. I mean, I'm driving through one of these small towns right now, so it is entirely possible. Anyway, I've been doing that. I've been reading, I don't know how to pronounce some of the names of them. It's an older series that I think my oldest sibling was like, here, read this, you'll probably like this. I think, or maybe I just picked it up. There were a couple that most of them were recommendations from other people, more so than me just going, yeah, let me try this. I've done that a couple times. But it was written by David Eddings, and I think since then I've found out that speed limit still slow down until it goes up. I think I found out that his wife also did a lot of the writing as well. But anyway, it's a series of what was the first one called? I think the first one was called Pawn of Prophecy. The entire series is called The Belgariad, I think. Anyway, it's a good time, good fun book. I enjoy. It's a series of them. I'm on to the fourth one now. I spent a good bit of time reading over this break as well, which has been kind of I wanted to spend time finishing up some video games, playing that stuff, spend time cooking good food, reading, and getting out as much as I can to do this. So I pretty much have accomplished all of the things that I set out to do as far as this this holiday vacation, which is technically not over yet. I still have a couple days left, but as one thing possibly starts wrapping up, although I seem to have driven out of the snow, it's not the falling snow, I should say. It is covered. But anyway, I've gotten a lot done this break that I wanted to do, which I'm quite happy about. I have a new purchase on the way. It should be delivered today, weather depending. The weather can mess up delivery times, which is totally understandable. I don't want people getting out stuck in the snow anyway. I don't want to get stuck in the snow, so I'd hate doing that. I think that would probably be one of the few jobs that I would not. There are a few things that I just straight up would choose not to do given the opportunity. Not that I think I could do it either, but driving a large truck, I'm not very comfortable driving. I've done some driving with U-Haul trucks, mostly when moving. That's about the biggest. I drove a van hundreds and hundreds of miles down to Florida for a convention once. That was okay. It was a small van. I would not mind doing that. I would not mind a van like that to do this with, because then I could put everything in the back. But I would also want it to have like the 4-wheel drive and the capability to get me unstuck and things like that. So it'd be interesting. But anyway, delivering I got a buddy who does that, works for one of those delivery companies, and it's awful. I mean, most larger corporations are not good to work for. They don't. Terrible working conditions, not enough pay, bad all around. But anyway, yes, one of the things that's coming in the mail today, I got with gift cards. It actually went on sale. I've been keeping an eye on it for a while. And I got some gift cards over Christmas, between my work giving me a gift card, the end of our quarter, we get a little $30 if we achieve our goal, better than nothing, since we're not getting any kind of actual bonus this year. Sucks, but we got that, got a Christmas gift card. Anyway, all that added up together to be about $80. And what dropped in price from what I've been looking before, and I'm seeing it around over 100. I think 110, 120 maybe, is another Pelican case, which I've been keeping my eye on ever since I bought this new lens for the Sony. Before, I've just been keeping it in. It came with a kind of a padded bag. It's not really, but it's better than nothing being exposed out while I'm traveling and stuff like that. So I was waiting at some point, as soon as I could afford it, to buy a case to protect that new lens. So boom, ready to go with that. That is going to be delivered today, and I'll be able to actually protect this lens whenever I'm transporting it from place to place, which I'm quite looking forward to. Really glad to have that back. All right, that's what I've done for all my other ones. I've got cases to keep them in, but I had a little bit more flexible money-wise back then. I have been thinking pretty hard about the next big purchase. I've talked about it more recently, but to go into a little bit more depth, the one thing I think really holding me back right now, I don't enjoy editing as it is, but it is a hassle when I can't get, clean playback. It stutters. It doesn't. It requires a lot of upfront work, and then the editing takes a long time. It's just not. It's already not a fun process. Personally, I don't enjoy it that much, and it's only kind of harder with not the best the best hardware. I have a. When I first built the computer, I had to buy everything, of course. So, upfront cost, everything. I got the best graphics card that I could afford at the time, while also going with, a good processor and RAM and all of the components that make the computer. So, at the time, I'm pretty sure I spent $400 on it, $300 or $400 to get a RTX 2070, I think. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't remember all that well. Hold on. Still recording. It fell down. Which is not, that's now 2 generations ago, but you're talking about I built it more than 2 years ago, so it was a huge step up from the laptop that wouldn't even, I'm trying to do 4K, and the laptop I got was not having it. The laptop, I bought a gaming laptop a few years before when I wanted to play more PC games, because I'd just been doing console for a while, long before I picked up a camera. Maybe not long before, because I was editing photos with it, and that was one of the reasons. I remember talking to the guy at the Micro Center when I went to buy it, and he was like, "Are you just getting into game?" I was like, "Well, I actually edit photos on there as well." He's like, "Yeah, this is a good one for that," which, it does fine. It was a huge step up from what I was using before. But I think it's got a 1060 in it. I don't think it's a 1070. I think it's a 1060. The road's not as clear right here. It's not bad. It's just blowing over top. Yeah, there we go. It cleared up. So I went with that because that could fit into the budget that I had. The money that I had basically from saving up right after the start of the pandemic, when we went on furlough, and I got extra money for being on furlough. They had a pandemic assistance on top of the usual, which thankfully made it enough to the point where I could survive, and I was able to tuck some away for savings. Actually, no, I used that to build the camera, to buy the camera. I don't know what I'm thinking. I saved up on my own from after I'd been working. I went back to work. I wasn't driving, and then I sold my car. That's really where it came from, is the fact that I sold my car at a profit, because the industry knew that everything was shutting down, and so it was going to be more difficult to have cars, so used cars started to go up in price, and I'm pretty sure they still have just stayed up in price, as a lot of stuff has. But I managed to, whatever I owed a couple $1,000s left on my old car, and I sold it for close to 10, I think. It was a considerable profit that I pocketed, and then used as a down payment on this one, as a considerable down payment, moving us across the country from Georgia to Wyoming. And then what was left, I was like, I've got a budget of all of this. What was left went into building myself a PC so I could really edit. And even at that point, I was skimping out on what it should have been, I guess. It wasn't like the best possible stuff, but it was an improvement, and it was the best that I could do. So I did that. And then a couple months later, my work computer died, and I wanted to keep those two things separate. I've always maintained I don't do well if I only have one, because if I'm trying to work and I've got distracting things like games or all my photography, videography, all the things on there like that, it doesn't go as well. I get distracted easily, because I'm like, ooh, I could just pull up this real quick. So it doesn't help. So I built the second computer being for work purposes. And at that point, I got something even cheaper, is a 1650 Super, maybe? It's another graphics card, another series back before, because I just needed something. And then as it turned out, later on down the road, I had, one of my siblings, significant others, just give me his old computer, because it broke. His motherboard died, so I scrapped all the other components out of it, and he had some decent, I think a 970, maybe a 960 or something like that in there. So even further, older. But I'm using very old graphics card. I've talked about this a bit in one of the other videos where when I got that over the summer, I think, broke down. Anyway, what it meant is I can get a bunch of monitors, which I actually do need for working. I gotta have a decent amount of monitors. 2, even at this point, 2 is almost not enough. I know I for a while considered 2 to be the standard at a minimum, but it kind of turned more into 3 at a minimum, so I can have a vertical one. I mean, I run with like 6 right now because I like having as many to put things everywhere that I can. I'd have even more if I could, but that's about as maxed out as it gets. But anyway, I wound up taking that graphics card that I built for the other one. When I wound up getting some extra graphics cards, I took that and I put it into the editing computer. So the editing computer has 2 graphics cards, which is actually useful when I'm editing. It did give me a bump up. There's a lot of people who say that you don't, but I have seen where it's been documented. It is a bump up. It's on some areas. It helps with the end rendering time. It helps a bit with the caching beforehand and general editing, except for when you switch over to a different tab, which is where I have to do all the text, and I do a lot of the mostly text. There's a lot of things you can do. Mostly I use it for text, but you could use it for like animation, a lot of different things. Anyway, that will only use 1 graphics card. And do I have 8 gigs of RAM in that one? I think it's 8 and 4. Or maybe it's only 6 and 4. I actually don't remember. I think I might have 10 gigs in total between the two, and they do not combine, so it switches to only using 1. The point is, it's not enough. As I do my best, it's not enough. It really slows down the process. So to get back to the main point, what I'm thinking of upgrading next is to a newer graphics card. I would really like to get one. The top end now that is still somewhat affordable has 24 gigs of RAM, and that is like when you're doing editing, you need a lot of what they call VRAM, which is what is on the graphics cards. So a 3090 has 24 gigs. There is a 16 gig option, but if I'm doing it and I'm going to go, I'd rather future-proof it and get one that's going to last and get the 24 gigs. Do the best that I can, spend the money up front. But they're really expensive. Everything is incredibly expensive. And right now, I think because of the holidays, I've been keeping my eye on it, being like, this could become a reality at some point. I've been keeping my eye on it, and I've seen the 3090s go for closer to MSRP, which is still like $1,000 for a graphics card. But everything is jacked up. I think the absolute cheapest I could buy one brand new is $1,350. And that's just so much. And I started getting antsy. I thought about it yesterday, and I started looking, and I was like, well, I could get it used, or I don't really want to buy one used because so many of them get used for crypto mining, and that just really, from my understanding, is a lot of hard work on the graphics card. It will shorten its lifespan, and if I'm going to spend almost $1,000, I'd like to get as much out of it as I can. So I could get one refurbished for $950. Ah, it's so much. It's a lot. I do have money coming in from the last round of contract work that I did a couple weeks ago. That should come in next week. I'll actually get paid, and then after I take out, for taxes, and I get everything squared away, what I actually have left over, it's real close. It's real close for me to do a 950 graphics card and then get the other computer parts that I need, because I need an upgraded power supply for that computer. The 3090 is significantly more power hungry. I have to upgrade the power supply in that, and then it's a question of like, all right, well, I take the other ones. I take the 2070, the 1650, or whatever I have, and I pass them. One goes to the work computer, and I can get an upgrade there. I do edit photos on it when I'm doing contract work. And it's just, if you have it at that point, I pass it down to that one. And then the 1650 would go to the other computer that I've talked about, which, again, do I need this stuff? Absolutely not. And that's where I get hung up on spending money on it, is because it's not necessities. But passing it down along would be the next computer it's not at all necessary right now, even more so because I just sit where, I'm in one location. All of my stuff is in one place. Back in Wyoming, and at another point in time, where I play games will be different from where I work, from where I edit. So I will not be using that computer for such. I will be using a different computer to play games on the TV. In which case the 1650 would do perfect, I'm sure. I actually don't know how well that would do at 4K, so it might get a flip-flop. It might be the 2070 goes onto the I call it a media PC, because it would be for streaming, for playing games. It's how I hook up my headset. I don't actually have a headset that connects to my Xbox, so if I'm trying to join, an Xbox party with all of my friends, I actually have to use another computer. It sits next to the TV, it would be there, and I figured if I'm going to do it, I want to do it up, and I want to make it look nice. So I picked out a nice case. I really like orange. I picked out a case that has orange accents to the inside. It looks really nice. I'd get nice colors on it. I'd love to experiment with getting a water cooler, an AIO water cooler, something like that. I've only done fans before. Anyway, I really enjoy building computers. The question today that I picked before also kind of led into this point, because the question was, if you could start a business, what would it be? What would you name it? Which I'm terrible at naming things, so I don't really have an answer for that one. But what would it be? It would be a couple of things. One, it would be what I'm doing. It would be somehow where I get paid to go out, try to find wildlife, and capture it on camera. That'd be fantastic. Not likely to happen. That's not really a business. That's, you could get hired, and the best that I could hope for in something like that would be hired by a movie studio or, a documentary studio, something like that, as one of their camera operators to go out and do such a thing. But it's not really a business that I could start something along those lines. Oop, flashing lights. Okay. Second idea, I really enjoyed working in a bookstore. I did not enjoy working for the corporate bookstore that I did when I turned 18, because it was all about pushing, and it was a sales job. You weren't just checking people out and helping people find books. You had to make numbers. You had metrics. You had to do all these things. It was awful. But I did enjoy I really enjoy books. I enjoy reading. I like helping people do that kind of stuff. A bookstore would be great. I would open a used bookstore of some kind. It would be fantastic. Or what I really enjoy doing, I mean, I enjoy all of those things, but when we're talking about that stuff, just let me build computers. How do I get a job where all I do is I just build computers for people? I really enjoy doing that. That's not really a thing, because you either wind up working for a corporation that does it, where you work for a larger company who just churns out, and then you're hitting metrics. You got to build them so quickly. You got to do something like that. Or you work at a small repair shop that doesn't really do much. Well, first of all, who hires for something like that unless you have a lot of experience? Not just, I can build a computer and it's fun, but you've gone to school, software, hardware, things like that. But you wouldn't get paid very well. I do have to maintain a certain level of payment in order to, a certain level of income in order to do all of this stuff. But yeah, if I could just build computers, I'd really enjoy doing that. I like putting things together. I like building with Lego. I like building computers. I like doing that stuff. I don't mind troubleshooting. It's scary. When I built that server and it did not turn on, I immediately went, I've wasted so much money. Oh no. The stress level jumped to 1,000, just immediately. Did I do something wrong? Did I short it out? I took so many extra I took all the precautions. I wore the static bracelet. I did everything. So but it still is fun, especially when I figured out that it was just a bad CPU, which serves me from buying used parts, which is why I'm hesitant to buy a used graphics card. I have been burned on that already, but refurbished, I've not had bad luck with that, and that's kind of what it comes down to. I bought my phone refurbished, and it's been going great. More than 2 years? 2 full years? Maybe. I don't remember when I bought it. Anyway, yes. That's what I would want to do. That was the question. What would you do? I would build computers. I would open a bookstore. I would do something with cameras, but not quite. I already get stressed out as it is doing the work for the contract stuff, and that's just shooting products. It doesn't even deal with people. I'm hands off entirely with people. I have no interest in doing that. Shooting. Most people that hire someone to do video or photo, it's for weddings. That's the biggest thing, and I am not interested in doing anything like that at all. I try to avoid it. Anyway, good times. I still gotta finish driving home, but that's what's been going on. That's the stuff that was on my mind, all the personal aspect behind what's going on, and I had a really good day. I got to see some wildlife that I was really excited about, and I can't wait to get back out and do some more of it. Good times.